Ever wondered why Michael the Angel was never mentioned during Lucifer's rebellion? Well, get ready for a surprise. Michael wasn't just there, he was right in the middle of it all. Picture this: heaven, a place of perfect peace and harmony. Angels sing, light shines everywhere, and God's love fills every corner. But one day everything changed. Lucifer, once God's brightest angel, wanted more. He looked at God's throne and thought, why not me? I could be like God. This little spark of pride grew into a huge rebellion that would shake heaven itself. Now, you might be thinking, where was Michael during all this? Many people think he was just watching from far away, maybe confused or not sure what to do. That is not the truth. To understand the whole story, we first need to know who Angel Michael was and why he was so important in Lucifer's rebellion. He wasn't just a normal angel, he was an archangel, one of the highest-ranking beings in heaven. Think of him like an army general, but with wings and divine power. Michael stood close to God's throne, a trusted guardian and leader among the angels. He was known for his strength, his loyalty, and his love for God. So when Lucifer started causing trouble, Michael wasn't surprised. He was right there, ready to defend everything he believed in. This wasn't going to be an easy fight. Lucifer was clever and had convinced many angels to join him. The calm before the storm in heaven was shattered. But Michael had something Lucifer had lost: complete faith in God. In the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the real story of what Michael did during this crisis. How did he rally the angels who stayed loyal to God? What was it like to face off against Lucifer, someone who used to be his fellow archangel? And how did Michael's actions help save heaven from being torn apart? Many other questions will also be answered, but first, let's start by looking at who Michael was before all this happened, before the rebellion. Michael was one of the most important angels in heaven. As an archangel, he was part of a special group of angels who were closest to God. The Bible mentions Michael by name 5 times, which shows how important he was. Michael's name means "who is like God." This name tells us a lot about who he was. It shows his deep respect and love for God. Michael knew that no one could ever be like God, and he was happy with that. In heaven, Michael had a very important job. He was the leader of God's armies. Being in charge of all the angels who protect heaven, that's a big responsibility, but Michael was ready for it. He was strong, brave, and completely loyal to God. Michael spent a lot of time near God's throne, which means he was always close to God, listening to his wisdom and following his commands. This closeness to God would be very important when the trouble started. Michael's loyalty to God meant he was always ready for anything. He didn't know it yet, but all of this was preparing him for the biggest challenge he would ever face. But one day, everything changed in heaven. It started with Lucifer, who was also an important angel. Lucifer was beautiful and very smart, but he started to think he was better than the other angels. He even started to think he could be like God. One day, Lucifer made a big decision. He decided he didn't want to serve God anymore. He wanted to be in charge himself. This was the start of the rebellion. When Lucifer decided to rebel, he didn't keep it to himself. He started talking to other angels. He told them that things could be different and that they didn't need to follow God's rules. Sadly, many angels listened to him. The Bible tells us in Revelation 12:4 that Lucifer managed to convince 1/3 of all the angels to join him. That's a lot of angels, but what about Michael? Was he surprised by all this? Not at all. Michael had been paying attention. He saw the changes in Lucifer, how he was becoming proud and disobedient. So when the rebellion started, Michael was ready right away. Michael knew what he had to do. He had to defend God's honor and protect heaven. He couldn't let Lucifer's lies spread any further. This was the moment Michael had been prepared for all along. As soon as the rebellion broke out, Michael sprang into action. He knew he had to rally the angels who were still loyal to God. This wasn't going to be easy. Remember, Lucifer had already convinced a third of the angels to join him, but Michael wasn't going to give up. Michael started by reminding the faithful angels of God's goodness and love. He told them about the importance of staying loyal to God. His words were powerful and full of truth. Many angels who were unsure found strength in Michael's faith. Next, Michael organized heaven's defense. He used all his skills as a leader to prepare for the coming battle. He assigned roles to different groups of angels, making sure everyone knew what they had to do. Some angels were sent to protect important areas of heaven. Others were prepared to fight directly against Lucifer's forces. Michael's leadership during this time was amazing. He was calm and confident, even though the situation was very serious. This helped the other angels feel brave too. They trusted Michael because they could see how much he trusted God. All of this was building up to something big. Michael knew that this wasn't just about heaven. This was a battle between good and evil, between loyalty and rebellion, and he was right in the middle of it all. Now, we come to the most exciting part of our story, the great battle in heaven. This wasn't like any battle we've ever seen on earth. This was a cosmic conflict with angels fighting against angels. On one side was Lucifer, now often called Satan, which means adversary. He had his rebel angels with him. On the other side was Michael, leading the angels who stayed loyal to God. The Bible describes this battle in Revelation 12:7-8, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. Can you imagine what this battle looked like? It must have been an incredible sight. Angels zoomed through the sky, flashes of light as they clashed, the sound of their powerful voices echoing through heaven. Michael was right in the thick of it. He fought with all his strength and skill, but more than that, he fought with faith. Michael knew that God was on his side, and that gave him courage. The battle was fierce. Lucifer and his angels fought hard. They used all their tricks and all their power, but Michael and the loyal angels were stronger. They had something Lucifer didn't have anymore, the power that comes from being on God's side. As the battle raged on, it became clear that Michael and his angels were winning. Lucifer and his rebels couldn't stand against the combined power of God's loyal angels. Step by step, battle by battle, Michael pushed Lucifer back. This great battle shows us something important. It shows that good is stronger than evil. It shows that loyalty and faith can overcome pride and rebellion. Michael's strength and determination in this battle are an example for all of us. After a long and hard battle, Michael and his angels finally won. But this victory wasn't just because of Michael's strength. The Bible tells us that Michael was empowered by God. This means God gave Michael extra strength and power to defeat Lucifer. With this divine power, Michael was unstoppable. He faced Lucifer in a final confrontation. Imagine the scene. The two most powerful angels, once friends, now enemies, facing each other in the greatest battle heaven had ever seen. In the end, Lucifer couldn't stand against Michael and God's power. He was defeated. Lucifer and his rebel angels were kicked out of heaven. The Bible describes this moment in Revelation 12:9. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Can you picture it? Lucifer, once the brightest angel, now falling from heaven like a shooting star. All his rebel angels fell with him. It must have been a sad and scary sight. But this wasn't the end of the story. When Lucifer fell to earth, he became known as Satan, the enemy of God and humans. And this is where our part of the story begins. The battle that started in heaven continues here on earth. It's a spiritual war that affects all of us. Michael's victory in heaven reminds us that good will always win over evil in the end. But it also reminds us that we need to be strong and faithful, just like Michael was. Now, we have learned many unknown facts about Angel Michael in Lucifer's rebellion, but God's message for you is far greater than what you can see. And if you are someone who loves learning about these hidden mysteries and unexplainable truths, then you are at the right place. Our channel, Christ Calling, brings fresh content twice a week related to the mysteries of Christian history. So if you don't want to miss out on any of these interesting videos, then don't forget to subscribe to us. Coming back to Michael's story isn't just an exciting tale. It's full of lessons we can use in our own lives. Let's look at what we can learn from Michael's unwavering faith. First, Michael shows us the importance of staying loyal to what we believe in, even when things get tough. Even when his friend Lucifer turned against God, Michael stayed true to his faith. This teaches us to stand firm in our beliefs, even when it's difficult. Second, Michael's story shows us the power of trusting in something bigger than ourselves. Michael didn't rely on his strength alone, he trusted in God's power. This reminds us that when we face big challenges, we can find strength in our faith. Third, we learn from Michael that being prepared is important. Michael was ready when the rebellion happened because he had spent time close to God, learning and growing stronger. This teaches us to build our faith every day, not just when we face problems. Fourth, Michael's leadership shows us how to help others in tough times. He encouraged the other angels and organized them effectively. This reminds us to be supportive of others and to use our skills to help in times of crisis. Life can be hard, so we can learn from people who stayed strong when things got tough. But how? First, speak up for what you think is right, even if others don't agree. It's important to share your views. This can be scary, but it helps make the world better. When you run into problems, remember your faith can make you stronger. Take a deep breath and think about what you believe in. This can give you the power to keep going. Try to learn something new every day. Read books, talk to wise people, or think about your beliefs. This helps you grow and understand more about life. Look around for people who need help. Maybe a friend is sad, or a neighbor needs a hand. When you help others, it makes you feel good too. By doing these things, we can all make our lives and the world a little bit better. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. These lessons from Michael's story connect to our daily life battles. We might not be fighting rebel angels, but we all face challenges to our faith and values. By following Michael's example, we can stay strong and faithful in our own lives. But Michael's job didn't end there. Even after the great battle, Michael continues to be a protector of God's people. In the Bible, we see Michael appearing at important moments to help God's people. For example, in the book of Daniel, Michael helps the prophet Daniel and protects the nation of Israel. The Bible also tells us that Michael will play a role in future events. In the book of Revelation, it says that Michael will fight against evil forces in the last days. This shows us that Michael's vigilance, his watchful protection, is eternal. He's always ready to defend God's people and God's plan. Michael's continued protection reminds us of something important. The battle between good and evil that started in heaven is still going on, not with swords and armies, but in the choices we make every day. Every time we choose to do what's right, to be kind, to help others, we're part of this bigger story. So what can we learn from Michael's carefulness? It teaches us to always be ready, to stay strong in our faith, and to keep doing what's right. Just like Michael never stops watching over God's people, we should never stop trying to live in a way that reflects our beliefs. We often hear that God is everywhere and knows everything, so we might wonder, did God know Lucifer would turn against him? If he did, why didn't God stop Lucifer? And where was God when Lucifer tried to take over heaven? These are big questions about our faith. These all are some very interesting questions whose answers are in this video on your screen. It has great mysteries about Jesus. Click on the video and enjoy watching.